Welcome back. Talk Friday in the building. It is a Friday here on 93.7 The Ticket. Here on the block, welcoming in from Gregory CPA Services, the wonderful ladies, our Caribbean sister CPA for over 60 years of combined CPA experience with large multinational corporations, helped over 300 high net worth families with wealth, health, and tax strategies to secure that bag after you get it. And so we wanted to bring the ladies on today. We have Florice and Gracelyn on the phone. Well, not on the phone, but on the line with us on the StreamYard. How y'all doing today, ladies?
We're good. Wonderful.
Good.
Thanks for having us.
Good. We're glad that you guys can join us here on the block. Hang out with us a little bit. So one of the reasons we wanted to have you, we have what they call Fit Talk Friday. Fit Talk Friday for us is not specifically health, wellness, and holistic means by which you take care of your mind, body, and spirit, but it is also encompassed by the way that we live and the way that we deal with the outside environment, our lives and our, wives and families, or it encompasses a lot of different things. We've had people that came in and visit us from car dealerships and automotive facilities, so it's all encompassing, and this is something that we deal with life. No one wants to pay taxes, and no one wants to do it at the level that, depending on your bracket, that you have you have to do so. So we also dealing with some changes in sports, which you guys do have. We're not going to get into who your clientele or your clientele is, or any specifics on that, but now that NIL has reached, and us being in Nebraska and us having a university here that plays in the NIL game, and you guys being who you are, and in the starting process of getting these young men and women to be able to take care of their taxes, their finances, their money, and make sure that there's a learning curve. Tell us a little bit about you guys. With Gregory CPA, and then we'll talk about how you guys can be helpful in helping these young men and women to be able to have learning skills and to understand financial fiduciaries and duties and different things like that.
Okay, so usually I go first, so I'll start and then Gracelyn will turn in. So you mentioned we're sisters. You can hear the accents. We're from Anguilla, that little island by St. Martin, St. Thomas area. And so we're both CPAs. And you mentioned with 60 plus years. I went to school in California, Cal State Northridge, and then graduated, worked for big corporations.
Pause real quick.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, were you there when the earthquakes happened?
Of course, yeah, I was in California during the earthquake.
Man,
I was in the dorm, and I had to run down those stairs. I'll tell you, the fastest I ever ran.
Okay, continue.
Yeah, so left there and worked for big corporations, right? Ernst & Young, Office Depot, Toyota, Mainland Strategy, and then some smaller firms. I worked for Rick Scott, current senator of Florida. I was the CFO for his company, for him, just before he ran for governor. So big corporation, he wanted my big corporate experience, always focused on strategy. And a conversation I heard while working for him is what triggered me to get into taxes, because someone said they don't pay any taxes. And I was like, I got to figure that out. And so out of that was birthed Gregory CPA Services.
And Grace, let me turn this one to you, because it is some craziness, because being a former athlete myself, having individuals like you guys and your tax services there at Gregory are important, because we don't just deal with where we play. We deal with every aspect of where we play, every city, every municipality, whatever it is. There's some tax that they want to take from us, and so how do you guys manage dealing with world tax environment, local, individual, and then clients like myself? How do you guys handle that?
Oh, that's directed at me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll do a quick introduction. I'm Flori's sister. We have 12 kids. I'm the last of 12. I'm a USC Trojan. Worked with Ernst & Young for 26 years, 11 years as a partner in the Boca Raton office. Joined Floris's practice in 2020 during COVID, and the rest has been history. I think the interesting thing for me is that everyone you have to, first of all, I think everybody should be, and I'm going to use a sports term, the quarterback of their finances, of their finances, right? So I think the first thing is understanding. And when you have a client, education should be very important. Understanding, here's where you are, here are the tax implications of where you are, here are some things you could do to change those situations, whether it's, obviously for athletes, you get the jock tax, you get tax based on the days you play, et cetera, for state taxes. And of course, most athletes fall into the 37% tax bracket, which is roughly somewhere around that $700,000 to $800,000 range, right? So it doesn't take much for an athlete to hit that maximum 37 tax rate. So for us, it's really looking at family education and helping them understand what's the best. Obviously, you can't choose where you play. That's part of your deal. NILs is a little bit different when you're in college, but it's ultimately making sure that you are always ahead of your financials. So it's really about bringing in your team and helping everyone understand where you are, what you can do to mitigate, and most importantly, how you can consciously retain that wealth so you can take it on to future generations.
So I like to say tax planning is different from financial planning. And so you really want to do the tax planning because it involves states, it involves federal. There's a lot that goes into that.
If I could just add one small thing, what I've seen people do, and this is not just athletes. Believe it or not, I spoke to an attorney this week that did the same thing, right? Someone works, they make good money, and they throw that money into a Vanguard or some mutual fund or an ETF, and that's not really managing your money, right? Someone else is managing your money for a very stiff, usually asset management fee. But the conscious decision is that really what's going to grow my wealth in 10 years or 5 years or whatever my duration of my play may be? And so I think it's really getting involved in what type of assets do I want to invest in? What does my corporate structure look like? Athletes have an amazing opportunity to set up different management companies, do stuff with their family and friends and pay their family and friends. And there's so much more you can come out of this with truly an enterprise. And if you start right, if you understand where you want to go and keep adjusting as you go forward, I think it's amazing how you can truly enrich financially and knowledge-wise your circle and your community.
Hey guys, this is Austin Norman, Strick's partner here during On the Block. Thanks for taking some time to join us. Florice, we'll start this one with you. What percentage would you say of athletes that you work with specifically have an interest in this sort of stuff? Do you work with more that have an interest in what this looks like, taking some of these matters into their own hands, being hands-on with what their asset management looks like? Or do you deal with more athletes that just want to be hands-off and trust you guys to do more of the work?
It's really a mixture, right? Because there are some who are very interested. And I think as they become more mature, the older they get, the more they start looking in the need to be more involved in their finances. So yeah, that's what we see. The younger ones, not so much. And so that's why the education is extremely important. We've got to get the word out because even the students, there's so much they could do to ensure they keep more of that money for themselves. There's just a lot there.
Yeah. So Gracelyn, I'm going to throw this one to you. So one of the things that I came to an understanding is that it has to be a team concept. Once you leave something into the hands of one particular individual, whether it be your agent or whether it be your lawyer or whomever, there's a means by which there could be some siphoning. You've seen players play way longer than they had to because there was something that was kind of siphoned off. What do you think about, how do you guys put yourself in the position to be a part of helping the players to audit or to watch or to observe and to make sure that being a part of that team, that you're not only helping, but you're also leading the charge of making sure that these individuals have the correct people around them and identifying those, because that's a tricky subject. It's kind of touchy because sometimes it could be a family. Talk to me.
Yeah, so I think I think the most important thing is trust, right? We have to get out there. We are CPAs. We do not get percentage of asset fees. So what I said to a few people is, you got to be involved. You have to force whoever is managing your money, because oftentimes agents have, hey, I have this wealth advisor or whatever, and you put your money over there. Well, first of all, there's no tax advantages. So part of that is education, right? Whatever you get over there, there's really no tax advantages to it. You have to pay taxes on it, but you also have to actively manage it. You must have somebody because if I put my money at Wells or JP.
Uh-oh, did she just cut off?
Yeah, we lost her.
Yeah, so Gracelyn is in the Caribbean right now. So what she's saying is, if you put your money in Wells or one of the big, with a wealth advisor, you've got to actively manage it. And
Yeah.
so what we try to encourage our clients to do is to go toward hard assets, as opposed to the market. Now, you can do some market. If you do want to do some of the market involvement, then that's fine. But we're going to ask you to manage it actively.
Yeah.
So every month, every quarter, you review it, and so you know what's going on with
what you got going on.
I think
Okay. So Florice, we're gonna have to end it here, but we definitely have to have you guys back to elaborate and go a little bit deeper, because I really want to get into the NIL situation and the training and the teaching these young men and these families, because they're starting to embark on the start to a high level of wealth. But how can individuals that may have questions or want to, delve a little bit deeper or to get a better understanding, how can they find you? Tell them where they can find you, or how they can contact you, or they could learn more about what you guys do.
So we have a website, GregoryCPAServices.com, but all phone numbers, and I'll give it to you. They can text, and then we can start the conversation, because we are very active. All of our clients have our cell phone numbers. They reach out to us.
So you're very engaged.
Very engaged. Yep. If you text, usually you get an answer within an hour. 24 hours is very, very unusual.
Okay.
And it depends on where you are. Sometimes they're buying a car, they want some input, and they just pick up the phone while they're at the dealer and they contact us.
Wow.
So we give very hands-on. Gracelyn and I are your contacts. We don't give you anybody else to talk to. And you heard our experience, very high level, very business focused. And so we like to see our clients go toward businesses.
Well, there it is. Florice, Gracelyn, Miss Gregory, and Miss Hodge, Mrs. Y'all are Mrs. And so don't be jumping in DMs trying to holler at the beautiful queens over there. They are married women. No, so we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for your time and your input. I think it's important to continue to engage in this discussion. I wish as a young man, I would have had individuals like you guys there over at Gregory CPA Services to help me in this process of engaging as I, grew as a professional. So thank you guys for your service.
Thank you so much for having us.
There it is. Gregory CPA Services joining us on Fit Talk Friday. We got to get out of here for a break, starting the second hour of On the Block right here, 93.7 The Ticket.